Good evening. I'm Susan Harrison. I live on the far east end, 13 Old Marina Drive. I have two questions. First question, how many commissioners' meetings have you attended this year? We're in October. There have been 10. Dave, I know your answer. But how many commissioners' meetings have you attended this year? Number two question, Dave, you alluded to at each commissioners' meeting there is public comments period, and there are also open forums. To me, those are one-way dialogues, and there's a limit on the time that you can speak. And yesterday morning was a good example of when a party who had a complaint could actually speak longer, and a solution was arrived at during the meeting. So I want to know from the candidates, what would you change about these meetings such that, and I know you will meet with anyone privately, and I'm a person who does meet with people privately, and I have never had any resistance to that from any commissioners. So that is not the issue. But some people are reluctant to come and speak publicly, and can they speak publicly and get their questions answered? That's my question. You don't understand? Steve doesn't understand. What would you do to change it from a one-way dialogue to a two-way dialogue? That's basically the question. And I've answered your question. But this is the way commissioners' meetings and forums have been done for all the years I've attended, and nobody's ever suggested a change.
Wendy?
The first question, I believe, was how many meetings we've attended for town meeting. I try to go to all of them, but of course I did not make it to too many of them last year due to some health issues. Not my health issues, but anyway, I was out of town a lot. But anyway, in the past, I've been attending town meetings for years, but since I have been back from Durham with the Duke experience, I've attended just about every one of them, unless I was sick or something else was going on. But as far as changing anything in the meeting, I feel like with the open forums, they do have a 3-minute time, and I think that 3-minute time, I think they've based it on maybe Robert Rules of Law or something, Robert Rules of, what's that called? Yeah, okay, Robert Rules of Order, thank you. And it also allows for, other people to get up and speak and for things not to go for an hour or whatever. I do feel that in the open forum, maybe the 3-minute thing doesn't need to be, because we're kind of like it should be an open discussion, because it's not really a formal meeting, it's an open forum. With the town meetings and the comments, I do feel like sometimes people get up there and the commissioners or the mayor does not, or the board, I should say, doesn't really want to hear the criticism or hear some critiques. They stop them within 3 minutes, with that 3-minute time. And they should be allowed to say. But, like the other day, yesterday at the meeting, she asked for extra time because she had done so much research, and they did allow her time. And I think if it's something important, that they do allow time. So, sorry.
So I believe I've been to at least 7, if not 8, of the commissioner meetings. I know I was traveling for a little bit, and when I came back, Dean Walters asked me where I had been. He missed me, he said, so that was kind of nice of him. Regarding the open comments section, I do believe the 3-minute rule is an important one to at least have some sort of semblance of order, where if somebody does want to come in and go on a filibuster, that you have the ability to say, I'm sorry, you can't. At the same time, I think that the meeting yesterday was a great example of interaction between the board and a very concerned citizen. And she put together a very lucid argument, and it did run long. She had done so much preparation. And yet they did allow her to continue, which was the right thing to do. And there was interaction in that meeting between board members asking questions and the nice lady asking questions and answering those questions. I have presented to the board before and engaged in conversation with them. So I know of no rule that says that the board members, the commissioners, cannot engage in conversation and elicit what the right thing to do is, which is our goal, to do the right thing for that citizen and for all of the citizens. I also know that I have had people tell me that they are very nervous to get up in front of the Board of Commissioners for one reason or another, whether they're intimidated or some other reason. So I think they have to have another mechanism to be able to give their opinions and talk to people. One of the things that I would propose to do is every week, or probably the Monday before a commissioner meeting, I would have a Zoom call. Everybody can come in and they can talk about what's on the agenda. They would have had time to look at the packet, to have seen the agenda, and talk to a commissioner and find out, any answers. If it was very popular, we could bring in staff to answer some questions ahead of time so people have something comfortable to exchange information with and get their questions answered and be involved in our government.
Well, let's see. First question was how many commissioner meetings have I attended? Well, I'm embarrassed to say I haven't attended any this year. I've attended quite a few in the past, but not lately. What was the second part of that question? No, I wouldn't change anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's what my thoughts. I'm sorry. Oh.
Let's see. This year I've attended, I believe, 6 meetings. I've been on the road a little bit. I'm still working, regretfully, but that's kept me from being at all of them. I thought what happened yesterday was very helpful for those of us listening, because there was some time given to, beyond just the 3 minutes to talk about the issue at hand. I'm not sure that's possible every time someone has something to talk about, but I know I learned more from listening to that than if I had been just trying to read something off a piece of paper. So that was very helpful. And I'd be in favor of doing something, whether it be Zoom or some other type of communication in advance, so that I understand that young lady wrote a 6-page letter. And I know the commissioners read it and the mayor read it and everybody looked at it carefully. That's good to a point. It's always good to have that interaction one-on-one. And for some people that don't like to run their mouth like me, I understand you may not want to get up in front of the board. So maybe we compromise and have some way to allow people to provide remarks ahead of time. But yeah, that was one example of what happened yesterday that helped me. So I'm sure it helped other people as well. Thanks for the question.
I think I've been to 4 meetings. I am a road warrior by profession who is coming off of the road and retiring by the end of the year. So it's one of the reasons that I'm running for this office. I was encouraged yesterday as to what happened, because I do like the idea of the 3 minutes, but I also applaud the commissioners and the mayor for extending it, because the woman had done her homework. She had a valid point, and they stepped up and they listened to her, and I thought they came up with a viable solution to the problem. Okay, so I think we keep the rules in place, but also, exercise some discretion where it makes sense to do so. Mike's idea, a Zoom meeting with individuals, if they don't want to stand up in front of people, I think is a great idea. And we could certainly put something like that together too. So, but yeah, I would leave things basically in the meetings the way they are, but give the board that discretion. Thank you.
Great question. I believe that listening to each and every person that brings something forward is the whole key that drives the ship here. So if there aren't avenues for us to listen to you, the discussion doesn't get to yes, like we'd like to see it. One clarification on the quarterly forums, you can talk as long as you want. There's no time frame there, and we've had people talk for a good while. So the other 3-minute scenario is on the agenda just before we get to the business. So most of the time, the people that are speaking are speaking to something that they know is going to come up later in the day's meeting, and you know, we give them a chance to say, weigh in on the decision. We're going to be voting on it probably later on. So the second thing that I would like to say is how I listen to people is my email is published on the website, on my card, and there's seldom a day that goes by that I don't get an email from somebody saying, have you thought about this? Or what are you going to do about this? I will always call them back and listen to what they've got on their mind. Oftentimes, that drives information and items that go on next month's agenda item. Thank you. Listen.